Hello, good morning. I hope everyone is doing well. Kumusta kayo? Sana okay lang kayo. And today I recorded this video so that we could save time because we have limited contact time, right? So I hope that you find time to watch the whole video. So this is one of the very first lessons for the courses, pagtuturo ng Filipino at teaching English in the elementary grades. So we start with the Matatag curriculum in English and Filipino and our learners. Now to start, what is Matatag curriculum? Okay, now this is DepEd's response to the K-12 review. Okay, pag sinabing review, this is the revised K-12 curriculum. Okay, pag sinabing ni-review, ito yung in-implement, tinignan nila what worked, what could have worked, what might have worked, tatanggalin yung mga hindi effective. Okay, so this is a better K-12 curriculum. And then the emphasis is on foundational skills and learning recovery, which is later on discussed, the foundational skills. And then when you say learning recovery, di ba galing tayo sa pandemic, nagkaroon tayo ng learning gaps and losses. So yun ang i-resolve ng Matatag K-12 curriculum. Now, this curriculum also aligns with the global trends and local context. Ito na yung responsive na curriculum sa panahon ngayon, post-pandemic. And then there are 4 key reforms. First, decongested curriculum. This is the decongested curriculum. Kasi sabi nila, masyadong loaded yung K-12. So, pagdating dito, binawasan ng bahagya, okay, ang content. And then, number 2, it is for the improved foundational skills. Okay? Na ang focus dito ay early grades. Next, third, accelerated learning recovery. Kailangan nating makabangon. Kasi yung mga unang casualties ng reading loss, ng learning gaps and loss, ay nasa grade 4, 5, 6 na. Kailangan nating mahabol yung mga yun. And then, this is for the responsive curriculum content na naaayon sa makabagong panahon ngayon. Now, this is the comparative view of the K-12 English curriculum and the Matatag English curriculum. In terms of curriculum focus, the Matatag curriculum is prioritizing foundational literacy skills, especially in the early grades. The K-12, for the second part, it emphasizes on speaking, dati sa K-12. Ngayon, there's strong focus on oral language, phonemic awareness, phonics, decoding, and fluency. Then their approach in the Matatag, it's grounded in the science of reading, which is explicit, systematic, and evidence-based instruction. Now, for the writing instruction in K-12, writing is introduced early but with varied structure. While in Matatag, it's more developmental and it's aligned with the reading progress and text exposure. Then, with the text selection, before, there's a mix of literary and informative text. Now, it uses culturally relevant, age-appropriate, and authentic texts. For literature exposure, local and international literary texts were used in the K-12 English curriculum. Now, it continues literary focus but with deeper text comprehension and appreciation. Mas malalim, mas critical. Then for grammar and vocabulary, it was taught per level in the K-12 curriculum, often in isolation, but in Matatag, it's contextual and functional grammar, taught within reading and writing tasks. And then, for the assessment practices, mostly summative before, with the use of the pen and paper, and then periodic tests. Now, in the Matatag curriculum, it emphasizes on performance-based tasks, reading fluency checks, and writing samples. For the instructional design, K-12 had the spiral progression but often content-heavy, kaya nga dinikongest yan. Ngayon, sa Matatag, it retains the spiral progression but reduced and focused on learning competencies. So, to continue on the teacher role, in the K-12 curriculum, we are expected to be facilitators and content deliverers. Now, pagdating naman sa Matatag curriculum, we become literary coaches and scaffold provider. Okay, we will later on know what these things mean. Now, when we become literary coaches and scaffold providers, the focus will be on the learner support and differentiated instruction. That's why I initially sent you materials on differentiated instructions, because that is the goal of Matatag English curriculum. Okay, and then for the competency load, many competences are present per quarter in the K-12 curriculum. But in the Matatag English curriculum, it's reduced and refined to avoid overload and ensure mastery. Kasi sa dami ng competencies na kailangan ma-acquire ng bata, na nagkakaroon ng malabnaw na pagkatuto. So for this, dahil mas pinakonte, mas magkakaroon ng chance ang mga bata para magkaroon ng mastery sa kanilang pagkatuto. Okay, as for the skill integration, in the K-12, skills sometimes were taught separately. But in the Matatag curriculum, there's integration of skills. Okay, when you say integration of skills in one activity, pwedeng nag-write sila, read, write, and speak in a particular task. Kaya importante na marunong kayong gumawa ng differentiated activities. Okay? Now, let's take a look at the curriculum. For the early grades, which is from grades 1 to 3, ang focus ay oral language, phonological awareness, decoding, and comprehension. Then for the upper grades, grades 4 to 10, critical thinking. Then vocabulary, writing, literature appreciation. So makikita nyo, nasa early grades nandun yung basic. Dapat may comprehension, diba? Yun yung foundational skills na dapat matutunan ng ating mga estudyante. And then for the higher grades, they should be able to critically read, understand, create texts from what they read, okay? Or what they watched. Now, here are the language domains in focus in the Matatag curriculum. First, listening and speaking. Okay, this means oral communication for understanding. Malinaw ang pagkakasalita para mas maunawaan ng ating mga estudyante. Then, next, reading and viewing. Okay, when you read, you decode, right? And there's fluency when you read. And of course, comprehension strategies. May mga bata kasi na marunong bumasa, pero pag tinanong mo, walang naintindihan, walang naganap na pagkaunawa. So that is very sad, right? Then, writing and composition. This includes grammar, and then writing for different purposes. Iba-iba kasi yan, di ba? Iba kang mag-text sa nanay mo, iba kang mag-text sa mga kaibigan mo, kabarkada mo. At ganun din iba kang mag-text sa mayor or sa presidente kung kaya mong mag-text or sumulat, right? So, there are different purposes and we have to adjust ourselves into different scenarios such as those. Okay? And then, grammar awareness. So, dapat ang grammar functional and contextual. Nagagamit ito. Nagagamit at ito'y naaayon sa inyong konteksto, sa inyong mga karanasan. Okay? At lalo na ng ating mga estudyante. Okay? Now, next, literature. Okay, when you say literature, diverse text. Maaring ito'y kwento, informational texts, from the local perspective, global, okay, and this also includes digital texts. Now, when we talk about foundational skills, dapat alam natin ito kasi ang focus natin ay early grades. Now, kailangan makilala natin ang building blocks of literacy. Okay, first, phonemic awareness. This is when it is about hearing and manipulating the sound. You know how to spell the cat, you know the sound there, and you can, if you interchange the letters in the word, another word or the sound will change or the meaning will change. That's phonemic awareness. Okay, knowing the sounds. Next, phonics. This is when you match letters to sounds. Like for example, when you say A sounds A, B sounds B, and so on and so forth. Now, third is fluency. When you say fluency is reading smoothly and with expression. Diba pag nagkukwento tayo, walang script. Okay? Dapat pag nagbasa ka, para kang, pag narinig ka, para kang hindi nagbabasa, kundi para kang nagsasalita ng normal, natural. Okay? So, dapat maintindihan natin yun. Yun ang tinatawag na fluency. Next is for vocabulary. Okay, so understanding and using a wide range of words. So, dapat malawak bilang mga guro, malawak ang ating mga bokabularyo para yung ating mga estudyante maturuan natin ano yung mga akma sa edad nila ng mga vocabulary. Okay, hindi porket turuan mo ng vocabulary, yung vocabulary na tinuro mo pang grade 6. So, dapat iaakma mo din, step by step. Kung grade 1, medyo simple lang. Then, level up ka ng level up hanggang sa maging malawak na kanilang vocabulary sets. Okay? And then, reading comprehension. Anong kwenta ng reading text kung hindi naman naiintindihan kung anong ibig sabihin ng mga to? Diba? So, that is the most important skill na dapat ma-attain ng mga estudyante natin in the early grades. This is about understanding, analyzing, and interpreting texts. Now, let's take a look at the Matatag curriculum for both subjects, English and Filipino. Okay, in grade 1, hindi na to tinatawag na English or Filipino. Tatawagin lang itong reading and literacy language. Language. Okay? So, pagdating ng grade 2, doon na maghihiwalay ang English at Filipino. Okay? At ganoon din sa grade 3. So, here. To break it down, language. This emphasizes on the oral languages, including the mother tongue, Filipino, and English languages. Okay, pag sinabing language, hindi tayo matatali lang sa pagsasalita sa English. Kasama dyan yung kanilang mother tongue. And there are 180 languages in our country. Okay, pag sinabing mother tongue, pwede mong ituro yung subject matter mo sa Ilocano, sa Filipino, sa Tagalog, sa Bisaya, sa Bicolano, and so on and so forth. Ang importante dito, magamit nila ang kanilang lengguwahe, ang kanilang mother tongue effectively first, because this is the base of their language learning. Okay? And then also, language includes sign and the visual languages. And also, it includes indigenous peoples' languages. Now, for reading and literacy, the goal of Matatag curriculum is to develop the strong foundational skills for early literacy development. At nabanggit na ito kanina. It includes building phonemic awareness, decoding skills, and sight word recognition. Okay? Now, to show you the multilingual education model, okay, nakikita nyo, the inner circle is L1, or this is what we call the first language, or tinatawag natin itong mother tongue. Okay? Sino kaya sa inyo ang mother tongue ay Ilocano? Ang mother tongue ay Tagalog, or maybe Kapampangan, or other languages na hindi ko nabanggit. Yun ang L1 ninyo. Okay? At yun yung dapat mayakap ng ating mga estudyante na mapagyaman muna. Diba? Minsan nagugulat na lang tayo sa isang lugar na Ilocano ang kapitbahayan, pero yung anak nila, Inglesero, hindi marunong mag-Ilocano. Diba? Hindi na yan ang trend ngayon. Dapat ma-master muna ng estudyante natin ang first language nila. And then we move on to Filipino and English. This is the second circle. Okay? So pag na-master yung mother tongue, labas na tayo. Punta na tayo sa bigger sets of languages. Then, ito hanggang grade 6. Grade 6 na. Kasi, ang alam ko, pagdating na sa grade 7, they are taught foreign languages. Grade 7 or grade 8. And usually, ano yung mga tinuturo ngayon ng mga languages? Spanish, Korean, Chinese, and some French, I think. Those are some examples lang. Now, why do we have to be multilingual? Bakit yun ang pinupush? Pinupush ng DepEd, Department of Education. When a student knows the varied languages, different languages, they have better access to knowledge and learning. Diba? Pag nakasulat yan sa kung anong bagay, di naman lahat ng text sa buong mundo nakasulat sa English or nakasulat sa Ilocano. But then again, we can learn by just being able to read and understand these languages. Kaya for me, I advocate learning your mother tongue very well, the local language your community speaks. Para kapag may pinag-uusapan, alam mo, di ba? Nagmamarites sila, uy, may chismis doon tungkol sa ganito. Kesa naman nandun ka nga sa kapitbahayan ng Ilocano or Bisaya, pero hindi ka marunong magsalita nun, mabibenta ka, sabi nga nila, di ba? So, that's the benefit. You gain access to more information, not only in the local community, but in the whole country, and better around the world. Now, to talk about the languages curricular framework, ito siya. Okay, of course, these are based on theories on language acquisition and learning. Yan yung kanyang philosophy. And then, kasama dyan ang cultural factors, or we call that contextualization. Okay? Guided by the pedagogy, the science of teaching, the science and art of teaching. And then your learning resources and your proper assessment. This language literacy and text will have a better interplay towards our young learners' improvement to become literate and communicative in the language with a great sense of cultural identity. Dapat hindi mawala yun, yung pagiging Pilipino ng ating mga estudyante at mag-aaral. Diba? Now, let's move on. these are the key stage standards, mga pamantayan ng bawat yugto sa Tagalog or sa Filipino. Okay, so pare-pareho lang yan. Pag sinabing key stage 1, this is from kinder to grade 3. Key stage 2, from grade 4 to grade 6. And key stage 3, from grade 6 to grade 10. Pareho ang goals ng mga yan. Makapagsalita ang bata ng maayos gamit ang kanilang mother tongue. Okay? Now, ganun din dito. Now, let's move on to the next slide. Now, these are the goals of the language curriculum. First, literacy. Second, communicative competence. And third, cultural identity. Napaka-importante niyan, lalo sa panahon ngayon na napakaliit na ng mundo, nagmo-merge na ang iba't ibang kultura dahil sa teknolohiya. Right? Now, simulan natin kay literacy. When you say literacy, hindi lang basta nakakabasa. Nasasabi niya kung ano ang bata. Diba? Baba. Okay. Now, literacy is more functional. Okay, because you should be able, when you say literacy, the students should be able to identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using varied materials. Kaya niyang i-manipulate, kaya niyang maintindihan ang mga texts o yung mga learning materials na meron sa paligid niya. Now, when we say communicative competence, okay, gaano niya ito nagagamit sa daily life niya? Okay, this is the synthesis of knowledge of grammatical, social linguistic discourse, and strategic discourse. Mamaya mas mapag-uusapan natin ito ng isa-isa. Now, when we talk about the cultural identity, dapat ang ating mga estudyante, they will be able to embrace their being Filipino, their being Ilocano, their being Kapampangan, or their being Visayan, Cebuano, and so on. We have to be able to develop the feeling of pride in belonging to a cultural group. Hindi yung ikinakahiya, diba? Kasi ngayon, to my experience, may mga ganun akong nakilalang tao. Taga Isabela, pero ayaw magsalita ng Ilocano. Kinakausap ko ng Ilocano, pero hindi nasagot sa Ilocano. Parang ikinakahiya ba niya? At nakakalungkot yun. Kasi alam ko naman, at alam niya, na ang kanyang mother tongue ay Ilocano. Okay, sana mawala yun. Yakapin muna natin ang ating sariling kultura bago tayo yumakap sana sa iba para mas mapagpahalagahan ng ating mag-aaral kung ano pa ang meron tayo, mas mapaunlad natin. Hindi lang yung ating learners. Kasama kasi niyan yung ating learners, mapapaunlad natin ang ating bansa. Diba? Yun naman yung ating calling sa pagtuturo. Now, to go back to communicative competence, this is learning a language in order to communicate in that language. Inaaral natin ito para mas magamit natin ito ng epektibo sa pakikipagtalastasan. Okay, so take a look at the text here. Diba? May receiver, may sender. May unawaan dyan. Okay? Now, dapat ganun. Kaya nga meron tayong subject na communication. Yung hindi ka nagdadadakdak lang. Dapat yung sinasabi mo ay nauunawaan din ng mga kausap mo. At sana yung sinasabi ko ay nauunawaan din ninyo. Okay? Now, let's go to the first competency under communicative competencies. First, grammatical or linguistic competence. Now, this refers to your grammar knowledge, lexicon, phonology, morphology, and syntax. Ito yung technicality ng isang language. Okay? And this is the main focus of many language classes. Pag nag-aral ka ng English, di ba, grammar ang unang ituturo sa'yo, kailangan makaalam ka sa grammar. In the same manner, sa Filipino, ganun din. At kapag nag-aral ka din ng language like Chinese or Korean, ituturo din sa'yo yung grammatical structure ng kanilang language. Next, social-linguistic competence. Okay? So, this is the knowledge of the socio-cultural use of the language. May mga instances na yung isang lugar ay may pamamaraan ng pagsasalita sa matatanda. Okay, halimbawa, sa Ilocano. Sa Ilocano, magalang ang pananalita mo sa mga kausap mo. Diba? So, meron tayong tinatawag na sa Ilocano, manang. Ganun. Tapos, imbis na sabihin mong, ikaw, yo. Nangyari, ate, kumain ka na? Pag Ilocano yun, sasabihin mo, ate, kumain na po kayo? Or, manang, nangan kayon? So, gumagamit tayo ng kayo sa Ilocano to indicate respect to the person we are speaking to. Okay? So, social-linguistic competence also is about the appropriateness of the language in certain situations. Iba-iba ang tone natin. Depende sa kausap natin. Una, minsan formal. Lalo na kung ang kausap natin ay guro natin. Formal tayo pagkausap natin ang mga mayor or mga taong hindi natin masyadong kakilala. Now, nagiging friendly yan at nagiging casual kapag tayo'y nagkakilala na ng mas maigi. Diba? So, nakakausap mo na siya ng komportable ka. Saan nga, tinatawag mo na lang siya ng hoy. Diba? Casual ka na. Pero hindi mo matasabing hoy kay President Abella. Diba? You can't do that. And then, there's also sarcasm in different forms. So, ang tawag dyan, social-linguistic competence. This is to know what is rude or polite. Tact. It's called tact, right? Now, let's go to the third competency, and it's called discourse competence. Now, mas malalim ito kasi kailangan mo ito. This one focuses on comprehension and to be able to produce oral written text in varied modes of communication. Okay, magagamit mo na ito. Makakapag-compose ka na ng very purposeful na text because discourse competence includes combining, organizing words, phrases, and sentences to create conversations. Not just conversations, but effective, purposeful, substantial conversations, speeches, literature, text messages, and emails. Kailangan meron na tayo nito sa edad natin ngayon, ha? Yung pag-compose ng maayos na message, pag-compose ng maayos na email, at iba pa. Next is strategic competence. This is the fourth competence. Now, this is the competence wherein the learner knows what distractions there are during the conversation. Anong background noise ang meron? Ano yung interruptions? Kasi nakakaabala yan. Nakaka-distract yan sa communication. So, pag strategic competent ka na, kaya mong i-turn off o kaya mong patigilin ang interruption para ang communication ay diretso lang. 'Di ba? Yun ang tinatawag na strategic competence. Kunyari, online class. Mahina yung internet mo. Paano mo maipaparating sa estudyante mo ang iyong lesson? Di ba paparaanan mo? How can I continue my lesson with poor internet? Maybe you buy another router, or maybe a prepaid modem, Wi-Fi, or maybe you buy a load data for your phone so that you can continue your communication with your learners. Ang tawag dyan, strategic competence. This is keeping communication channel open through various strategies, kaya strategic. Okay, kapag nagtuturo tayo, we request for clarification, and then repetition. O kunyari, tuturo ka, naintindihan ba? Do you have questions? And then, pagtingin mo, hindi naintindihan, mararamdaman mo din yun eh. There should be repetition, uulitin mo. And then, kung hindi pa rin, you try slowing down. Baka kasi iba ang pagkabigkas mo or iba ang pagkadinig niya. And then, the use of hand and facial gestures. Hand signal tayo para mas maintindihan ng estudyante natin or ng kausap natin ang ating sinasabi. Those are the 4 communicative competencies. I hope that is clear to all of you. Now, before, we only learn to read. Learning to read, from learning to read to reading to learn. Mahirap matuto kung hindi ka marunong bumasa at umunawa. Right? So here in the Matatag curriculum, early grades, kinder to grade 3, the focus is on decoding. Kaya bang basahin yung isang salita na hindi mo pa na-introduce? Diba? Decoding tawag dyan. Then fluency using decodable text and guided learning. Baka kasi grade 3 na yung pagbasa niya para halata talagang binabasa niya. Dapat maging fluent tayo. Okay, kunwari, ang bata ay bababa sa hagdan. Okay, walang fluency pag ganon, halatang binasa. Pero kapag may fluency na, paano niya babasahin yon? Ang bata ay bababa sa hagdan. Natural lang. Okay? Now, for the upper grades, from grades 4 to 10, the emphasis is on comprehension and critical thinking with complex text. Dapat marunong ng gumamit ng maayos at maunawa ang maigi ang binasa o napanood, okay, na material. Now, there are instructional strategies in the Matatag curriculum. First is the gradual release of responsibility model. Ito yung scaffolding, malapit sa scaffolding, pero hindi eksakto. Now, when you say gradual release, I do, i-demo mo, I do, and then we do. You do together with your students. You do things together. And then, you let them do. You do. Do you understand? I do as a teacher. Ako muna, demo ko. And then, together, we do. Student and teacher. And then, learner does everything. They do it. Okay? You modeled it. Next, scaffolded reading instruction. So, here, this is guided. So, medyo kamukha ito ni gradual release. Pero ito mas support. Tuturuan mo muna. Kung kayang spoon feed mo muna. And then, sila naman. And then you keep supporting them. I-guide mo lang sila until such time you move back. Move back until such time na sila na lang ang gumagawa. You are teaching them to do the lessons, to do the learning independently later on. Okay? And then the multisensory approaches. It is very important that you know that not all learners are equal. Kaya nga, pinauna kong lesson sa inyo, yung differentiated instruction. You should know that some learners need visual materials. Actually, most learners are visual learners. And then, dapat auditory, pag sinabing auditory, naririnig, napapakinggan. Then kinesthetic, okay, it does action. We do action together in class. Dapat hindi lang nakaupo, hindi lang nagbabasa, kumikilos sila. And then tactile, they can feel it. They can touch things. They can manipulate objects. That's multisensory approach. Okay? And then, the use of culturally relevant text. Okay? Dapat ang ini-introduce mong text na aayon sa kanilang karanasan, sa kanilang komunidad. Okay? Mas naiintindihan kasi nila yan dahil naaayon yan sa kanilang experiences, sa kanilang karanasan. Okay? And then, we do diagnostic reading assessments. Dapat marunong tayong magturo magpabasa para malaman natin kung saan natin tuturuan o tutulungan yung ating mga estudyante. We should be able to diagnose their reading disabilities or reading difficulties if there is. Okay? Now, let's take a look at this slide. This is organizing the domains of the big ideas in language curricula. Remember, it is composed of 3 domains: language, literacy, and text. Okay? And then here, take a look. This is the progression across key stages. Sa key stage 1, it's bigger on literacy. Okay? Paano nila effectively and functionally magagamit yung kanilang knowledge, communication skills. Okay, with the use of language and text. Kasi importante yung may comprehension sila, di ba? Kaya it's bigger there. And then on key stage 2, nabawasan ng konti yung literacy. Language naman ang pinagyayaman. Right? And then, pagdating sa key stage 3, it's more on the text. Kaya nga criticisms na ang meron pagdating ng grade 7 to 10. Okay? Now, let's take a look. On key stage 1 or KS1, kinder to grade 3, the focus here is literacy. Now, there are 3 stages of learners. First, emergent literacy in kindergarten, beginning reading in grade 1, and rapid growth and development in grade 2 and 3. So we will later on take a look at this. But for now, here on key stage 1, it aims to develop the basic literacy skills and fluency in L1, mother tongue to. And then, Filipino and English in both oral and written. Now, the use of grade level appropriate text is 70 narrative and 30% informational. Yun yung kanya ratio. Now, on key stage 2 or KS2, grades 4 to 6, the focus is on language. Now, the learners are to apply their basic literacy skills developed in key stage 1. So, 15% narrative and 50% informational na ang gagamitin. And on key stage 3, grade 7 to 10, the focus is on text. The development of the multiliteracies, or the ability to understand and communicate in diverse settings. Lalo na ngayon, hindi lang in-person ang setting. May digital pa, may virtual. So dapat maalam na ang mga bata dito sa diverse settings na sinasabi. Now, what are the expected outcomes for the K-12, or not the K-12, the Matatag English curriculum, English and Filipino curriculum? First, increased reading proficiency by grade 3. Importante ito kasi basic ito. Dapat marunong na makabasa, makakabasa na, nakakaunawa na, at magagamit ito in daily conversations. Next, improve academic achievement, because when your students know and understand what they read, they could easily do well at school. Mas naiintindihan, mas maa-apply nila ito sa iba, hindi lang sa English at Filipino, kundi sa iba pang language na ginagamit ang mga lengguwaheng ito. Okay, next, reduced learning poverty. Dahil nung pandemic, talaga namang sinabi nga, we are learning poor because of the learning gaps and the learning losses na naganap due to distance learning. Dahil hindi pantay ang kalagayan ng bawat mag-aaral. Yung iba kayang bumili ng gadgets, nakakapag-participate sa online classes, nakaka-access sa internet para mas maka-access ng mas maraming learning materials. Pero hindi sa lahat ng bata. Yung ibang bata nga hindi makabili ng gadget, 'di ba? Hindi maturuan ng magulang at hindi naaabot ng internet or ng signal ng cellphone man lang. Hindi pare-pareho ang kalagayan ng mga mag-aaral na Pilipino. Okay, at maaari, well, hindi pa natin sure kasi first year of implementation ng Matatag, and we're hopeful na yung pagbabagong ito makorek yung mga pagkukulang ng K-12 curriculum ng mga nakakaraang panahon. And then the development of lifelong readers, learners who love to read and who read to learn. I hope we will be able to produce such people later on. And I hope you too, as future teachers, you should be able to appreciate reading, and you should also love to read so you can give more to your students. Tandaan ninyo, you cannot give what you don't have. Diba? Next, spiral progression and focus. So, magsisimula tayo sa oral, and then matututo silang magsulat. From oral to written language, they should be able to create text. Okay, they can speak the language, and write the language. And then, the text complexity increases across grade levels. As teachers, dapat alam mo kung anong age-appropriate, developmentally appropriate learning or contents ang maituturo mo sa estudyante. Kinder pa lang, hindi mo pwedeng turuan yan ng higher material. Diba? Kinder pa lang, tuturuan mo na ng subject-verb agreement na mahahabang sentence pa. Aba, kahit anong mangyari, diba? Mahihirapan. Well, may makakakuha siguro among your students, but not everybody will be able to get that. So, remember, it should be one step higher per grade level ang turo natin para may progression siya. Gradual but sure progression. Okay? And there should be integration of the 21st century skills, which includes collaboration, creativity, critical thinking. Those three are very important. Now, let's take a look at the sample learning competencies. For grade 2, identify main ideas and proper nouns. Okay, di ba? Madali lang yan. Identification lang eh. Then grade 5, they should be able to compare and contrast texts. Ma-compare nila. And they should be able to use transition words. Mas komplikado, mas efficient na yung pagkakompose. And then at grade 9, they should be able to analyze literary devices and write persuasive essays. Diba? Nakakabilib kaya yung mga ganong bata na sana nasa ngayon sa edad ninyo at level ninyo, you should be able to write persuasive write-ups. Now, let's take a look at the assessment approach. Okay, the Matatag focuses on formative and summative assessment. Pag sinabing formative, ito yung ongoing. While you're doing the lesson, you can see the progress. Then you know where to help them. You know when to slow down kung kailangan. And you know when to quickly move on with the lesson. And then there should be summative assessments. At the end of the lesson, dapat makita mo ano yung natutunan nila sa lesson mo. Diba? Then, second, reading fluency and comprehension checks. That is why it is very important that teachers know how to ask the right questions. May art of questioning din. At kailangan matutunan ninyong lahat yon. And then, we will be using rubrics for writing and speaking because these are qualitative outputs and we cannot just quantify easily subjective matters. We have to quantify them. Okay? Now, let's go to your role. You are going to be facilitators of acting literacy learning, and you will become designers of text-rich environments and assessors and adjusters of instructions. Dapat alam mo, next lesson na ba ako? Natutunan na ba nila ito? Hindi ka pwedeng mag-move sa next lesson nang hindi naiintindihan ng estudyante mo ang subject matter mo. Okay? Mawawalan ng saysay ang Matatag curriculum na ang goal ay magkaroon ng mastery of learning, right? Okay? And you as teachers, you should be advocates of reading across the curriculum. Kaya required sa mga guro, bagong guro, matatandang guro, or we can call them seasoned teachers, to love reading so that we can help our students love to read and read to learn later on. These are the references, and I hope you learned something from this lesson. Thank you very much. Now you have learned something about the Matatag curriculum. Now let's talk about our learners. Sino ba ang mga learners na natin? Na pagka-graduate ninyo, iba na yung generation ng mga learners. Now, in our case, you are students, my students, you're Gen Zs. When you are a Gen Z, you were born from 1997 to 2012. Now, our learners from this age group are comfortable with technologies and are pragmatic in nature. So, madali na sa mga kaidaran ninyo ang mag-navigate gamit ang technology. And you can practically use them. Next, Generation Alpha. These are the learners born from 2010 to 2014. And they are digital natives because they grew up with AI, smart devices, and constant connectivity. Ilang bata na ba sa edad na ito ang hindi pa marunong mag-cellphone? Diba? Bigyan mo ng gadget yan. Tingnan nyo, kahit maliit na bata ngayon, marunong mag-navigate ng game. Diba? Mag-navigate ng isang application. Now, let's go on to the different types of learners. We have 4. First learner, we call them imaginative learner. And of course, these are learners who are more feeling, matalas ang mga pakiramdam, and are very reflective. And they are focused on finding out the why should this be learned. So, ikinoconnect nila ito sa pagpapahalaga nila sa buhay. Bakit ito kailangang pag-aralan? Okay, ngayon pinag-aaralan to, saan ito magagamit? So they would be thinking that way. These are imaginative learners. Next, the analytical learner. These learners prefer to think alone. Minsan mahirap silang makipag-socialize, makipag-group work, because they prefer to think and reflect on their own. They are also knowledge-oriented. They like concepts and facts. And they solve problem in a systematic manner. Those are analytical learner. Okay? And next, the common sense learner. Oh, napaka-importante ito. Diba? Common sense learner, they do things by doing. They like trial and error. They like to manipulate and experiment on things. But they're not so inclined with verbal complexities and abstract contexts or concepts. So, sino sa inyo ang common sense learners? Okay? So, siguro nakikita nyo na kung sino kayo dito, ano? Now, let's go to the 4th one, the dynamic learner. The dynamic learner likes creating and acting their way to learn. They learn not for the sake of learning, but rather of finding meaning for their experiences. So they're active and creative problem solvers. So they're typically similar to common sense learners. They like to manipulate. They like to experiment. And they tackle problem and trial and error as well, just like in the picture. So medyo magkakamukha sila, but with slight differences. Okay? And there you go. Thank you very much. And I hope you read more on these topics.